Hi everyone, this is a very odd time for us to be on Facebook Live. It's Nicole from My Christmas here, and I've actually got Camille behind the camera, who's one of my crew from work, and she kindly comes to my home quite regularly and sets up my trees for me. So I do most of the decorating, but she does the hard work for me, which is awesome. And I know this isn't a great time for a lot of you getting dinners and so forth ready, but Camille does need to get home to her family and she's been working all day, so she kindly came around today to help me set up for Christmas in July. So I'm going to be on the camera for a very short time here, and then I'm going to pass over and we're going to keep setting up the tree. You can just show quickly, Camille, I don't know if it's in shot. We've half set up the tree, 2/3 set it up, and then we're going to show you how to do the rest of the tree, how to fluff out the branches and how to light the tree, so it'll be ready for decorating, which we'll probably do next week. We've got our Cambridge slim tree. This was a new tree last year, so if I could have one of the feature branches, Camille, just to show. So you've got a mix of this kind of thicker foliage. It's a hard needle mixed in with the finer foliage, which is great because it gets that really Australian natural looking styling to the tree. Kerry's watching you as well. It's always worse when some of the team are on watching. And so what we've done is we've actually gone around and fluffed out some of the branches. I'll get Camille to show me on the next row. In fact, bring one of those over, Camille, so we can just show. Now, your tree might be different to this one. This tree has hook-on branches. So we've got colour coding on the post, and then there's colour coding, if you can just show on the pole there, Camille, where we'll see you can see there's colours on the pole, so you know exactly which row you're building. The reason we do it this way, I'm sorry, can I see that branch back so I can just show you how you fluff it up? The reason we do that is it makes the whole thing a lot more compact, and also if you wanted to take some branches out of the back of the tree to push it in against a wall, you can do that. So what we've done here, if we hold that up, I'll just show you, when you fluff out any branch on any tree, what you're looking for, see how that looks full all the way around. So you don't want to flatten your branches down on it, and you don't want all your tips going in the same direction because that's going to make it look more gappy. So the aim is to fluff out the branches. You get 4 of the feature foliage on the feature rows, and you always try and set them out. You can see Camille's got one sort of up at 45 degrees, one out the front and one on either side. So if you have a tree with feature foliage, you want to think about how you're going to set that up. Camille and I fluffed up the branches first to make the process a little bit easier. So we tend to, when I do my tree at home, I always fluff the branches first. The kids and I will sit on the couch and fluff out the branches, and that's another thing that's really easy about the tree when you've got separated branches from the tree itself. It does make it a lot easier to just, you're not working hard on holding up branches while you're trying to put everything in place. Do you agree, Camille? It's so much easier when yeah.
So I do it all standing up completely upright before the fluffing.
Yeah.
If you can see on the floor, I end up laying them all out completely fluffed, and I end up putting the tree together like this, like a puzzle. So the only bending that I actually do is when I assemble.
And as I said, when we do it at home, we actually sit on the couch and do it. When we're doing it at the store, can you just show how we hook it in higher sometimes even with the lower branches? So as a trick, one of the things we'll often do is, so Camille's going to grab a branch that belongs down the bottom, but rather than that whole bending down, she's going to hook it in there. Let's say it was flat and she's got to fluff it out. Redo your work there, Camille. So we fluff it out. Again, she's standing up. So she's not bending down, holding up branches. So a lot of people think a hinged tree, which is the other variety where the branches are all attached, is a lot easier to deal with. But this is so much easier. And this is how we do it always at the store. We hook it in. Oh, is that the right level? So we hook them in high, and then we fluff them up high and then hook them in where they belong. The Cambridge is as I said, the slim is new, or was new last year and was really popular because slim just seems to be very much the way to go at the moment. And this Cambridge we have in a standard width as well. Every second row in the Cambridge is narrower. So I think you can already see my hand. You kind of get that in and out look with the Cambridge where you get every second row set into the tree. And when we start to look at decorating, so I don't know if I can see, You're not getting a great shot of it, but you do have every second row set in, and that means when you're hanging, you've got free space here to hang your ornaments, as well as getting ornaments right into the tree as well, which is really handy. And something to think about with any tree that you purchase, whether it's from us or anyone else, you want to think about whether you like your ornaments sitting in the tree, where you've just got a full tree and not many tips hanging out further, or if you like the ornaments sort of hanging in free space on the tree. So we've almost got, obviously this took us not long though, for this slim tree, probably one person, no more than an hour to fluff up the branches, not even that.
My timing, your timing?
Normal timing, 45 minutes.
45 minutes. The first time you do it, just getting used to the shape of the tree and how to create it. After you've made it the first time, much easier.
Yeah. We have found with this tree, people have gone, because they assume that you follow the size of the branch, they've put the wrong branches in, and they've ended up with a tree that goes from fat to thin down the bottom, and then they go fat to thin again at the top. The other thing with our trees, and look, you've all got, you may already have a tree, and that's great. These tips are still going to be useful, whatever tree you've got. What we love about our trees is the foliage comes right down to the ground. So you can see there, you do not need a skirt around the tree because you can't see that base at all. It is a strong metal base, obviously, on the tree, but there's nothing there to worry about. Now, with the top of the tree, we've put some lights on, so we can't actually show you. So you just want to make sure the top of the tree, you actually sweep the branches down and up. Maybe on one of those you can just show us what we're doing, Camille. We don't fluff out the branches. We don't sweep the branches up on our normal trees. We don't sweep up the tips on our normal branches, but we do on the top of the tree. The biggest mistake I find people make is they don't pull the top of the tree. So that's how you would do a tree top. If you just turn it to the side so people can see, that's it. Perfect. So that would fit in there like that. The biggest mistake is with the top of the tree, they don't pull the branches down low enough, and they end up with a line between the top of the tree and the top of the normal branches.
Do you want to mention what happened to ours today?
Oh, yeah,
In the bottom of the top, there is actually 5 wide pieces that have the branches still attached, but you actually pull the wide pieces out to give it more depth and a bit more width here. So if you look at it and it's all kind of bunched up and you feel like you've got a space, see if you can pull an extra piece out.
Yeah.
It's the only spot on the tree that it does, so it's a little bit, it catches you off guard the first time.
Yeah, and we do have videos on our website for the trees as well, just giving you some of these tips as well. One of the things, just on pre-lits, we get a lot of people who ask us about pre-lit trees, and we do carry some, but we are incredibly cautious. We have carried pre-lit trees. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it means the lights are already on the tree. So again, everyone thinks it's easier to do, and yeah, it is, but Camille's going to show you how easy it is to put lights in your tree. The problem is that we get surges and transformers can blow, and if your lights blow, then your whole tree's ruined. When it's separated, you don't have to worry.
This beautiful tree has a 10-year warranty and is used basically for corporate and commercial use. So the last tree that I had exit the store, which has been there like a year less than me, 9 years, still looked the same condition that we had it at the start of 9 years ago when I had set it up in the Glen, and it had come back from the Glen and it had been at different places. So once you move to trees that have lots of things on it, you have more things that could potentially require replacement, which we can't do.
So what Camille's doing now for you is we're going to show you how to light. So what we've done, a tree like this, if we were selling this tree, or if you had a tree this size at home, we would recommend anywhere from 300 to 600 lights on the tree. So 300 lights is going to give you a scattering of lights. 600 is going to give you a really full cover. So what Camille's already done for me, she's already put 400 lights around, so 2/3 of the tree. And then we're going to have the front third that we're just going to run 100 lights. So you can see the difference in coverage. We're going to turn the lights off so you can see the two when she's done. And you can see what difference it is. Now, even putting those lights on, I was on the computer for 20 minutes or so when you were doing the lights. So, of course, Camille's done this lots for you, but the thing is, you'll see how she does the lights. Just hang on one sec, Camille, before you start. When she does the lights, you don't need to over-worry about what you're doing. Basically, we're going to divide the tree. So if you can show how we divide the tree.
There's pieces of pie. got, if you buy lights from us, we sell them in 100 sets. Obviously, they're all in the same length and the same quantity, so we want even coverage. We don't need to worry about where the cord goes. We don't need to worry about specifically where the lights go. We just want to know, in this piece of pie, because I'm going to put on 600 or 100, that I've got the even amount in this piece of pie to the same amount that I'm going to apply in the next slice that I'm putting on.
So if, for example, we were going with just 300 lights on this tree, we would have 3 pieces of pie that we would divide the tree into so that we've got even coverage, and we don't wind the right lights around the tree. We are winding them down the tree in each of those pie sections, because that way, if you make a mistake, it's easy to take them off, and when you pack up, it's a lot easier. So Camille's going to start now. Sorry, before you start, can you just show the... Yeah. So she's going to throw some on now for you and go, oh no, I haven't quite got it right. I've got more lights.
This isn't going to work.
So it means that that's all you have to do at the end of the season. You know, winding around and around your tree with strings of lights is an absolute pain. So that's why we love working with the 100 length lights. They're 10 metre long, so they don't tend to get knotted. They're a good length to work with on the tree. Camille's got, if you come a bit closer, Camille, with that. So we've actually connected, these are our connectable lights. So they have, there's actually 10 of these little, we call them fingers, 10 little fingers on the tree, and they're in 2 sets of 5. And that means you can run up to 1,000 lights off one transformer.
So for anyone who's thinking about buying these, this is a 10-point adapter when you're shopping, and each one of them has a 5-finger adapter, which means that I have 2 what we call splitters. So each one of these I can select either static or flashing lights. So if I was to say I only put 400 on here, I could put 300 on static, and then I could plug into the other set of fingers that I have, one set, and switch them to flash, all going off the one power board, the same sets of lights, the same colours, all matching. So
what we'll often do with the tree in the store is we'll run some lights in the middle of the tree, still running only no more than one transformer, because we've got up to 1,000 lights we can run on it, and we will run the ones down the middle. So sorry, Camille, just before you do that, can you show, if we were putting them in the middle of the tree, how would you do that? This is a little by the side. We would normally, as you build the tree up, layer the lights into the middle. So
if you're doing it as either an afterthought or just the first time, and you have to pick one spot on the tree. So if I was doing this in the shop, this would now become the back because it's the one side that I haven't decorated with lights yet. And I basically make myself a tunnel. And then I start by putting it into the middle. You don't want to poke them right in so that they're around the pole, because you end up looking like there's literally a pole down the centre, and it's not the look you're going for. You're basically going for a halo. So with our trees, most of our branches start about 10 centimetres out from the pole. We kind of want the inside branch lights to sit right on the inside.
Oh, it's hard to hear, Camille. Hang on, let me just...
Sorry. You kind of want those lights when you're making the halo to sit just inside those branches, so that it's filling the space, because obviously the light also lights up all the empty space that's in the middle of the tree as well, making it glow.
And sometimes I find at home, I don't like twinkling lights all over my tree because it's too much, but I actually love having the twinkling lights in the middle. Oh, no, just that was enough. Sorry, just to show you how to do it. We're not going to light the middle of this tree. We want to do it as you would at home, but just a tip for you. Hopefully, Mary Jane, we have tried putting the volume up, so hopefully you can hear Camille a bit better. So Camille's got 1/3 of the tree left, and we're pretending that this tree is going to have 300 lights. So 1/3 of the tree, she's going to run these lights, and she's winding them backwards and forwards. You don't want them to look straight in line, so you're just wiggling them backwards and forwards across your branches.
You want a bit of depth?
Yeah.
You don't want them to just sit on the outside of the branches, especially because shortly I'm going to put decorations on, and they're the real display part of the tree.
And don't worry too much that you've got cords hanging out at the moment. We'll fix that at the end. Okay, so you don't need to... Meredith's also watching. I've got most of the team on board. So all she's doing now is just roughly getting her positioning right for the lights, so that she's working the lights across that third and trying to use her entire entire 10-metre piece. Cheryl's just said so much harder on a real tree. It is so much harder on a real tree, Cheryl. Honestly, you know, I've always been an artificial tree girl myself, so I do find it difficult when I've had to dress a real tree because the ornaments can't be positioned exactly where I want and the lights don't.
Cheryl, basically to make it easier for you, you're probably going to be attaching all of yours on with green florist wire. It's something that we have at the shop, and it helps you to get it to sit potentially in areas that wouldn't normally sit, but will hold with the wire there.
Yeah, because there's not enough strength. Okay, so at the moment, Camille has just laid those out for us. She's used her entire 10 metres, so she's pretty happy she's got her positioning right on that. You'll need to turn the static off. So she's going to turn the lights on.
I'll have to fix it once it's on.
Yep. So the set she's just put on is just set on twinkling, so we're just going to turn that on to static. And so if I come back a bit further, just to give you an idea, you can see how quick that is to get a really nice just scattering of lights. Now there's some spots that you could go back. I'm sure if Camille came back, she'd have a look and go, okay, I've got a little bit of space here or not as much space there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn some of these lights off. It's probably dark enough now. We don't have to do anything but a few lights.
This one?
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. All right, so what we want to show you is hopefully you can see the difference. Hang on, I've just got to come past a chair here. That's all right. Now this side of the tree, we've gone with double the quantity of lights on it.
That's a shop dressing.
So this is, oh, I love to have this at home.
No,
Yeah.
Shop, this is what it will
Yeah, that's right. And again, we've done this really quickly, so we haven't played with anything. And the other thing is, remember that you're going to have ornaments that have to go on there. So sometimes you play with your lights again once you've got your ornaments in place, because you might want to wiggle them around some of your bigger ornaments. But I'm going to go back, hang on a sec, I'll go back to the front again, just so you can see the difference between the two. I hope that was, did you get an idea of the difference there, guys? You can let me know if, yeah. More is more, yeah. Look, light, when it comes to lights, you can turn that back on, or when it comes to lights, guys, honestly, more is better.
I've been lighting this shop now for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
When we do shop trees, I don't worry about where the lights are going because they're going to be decorated so heavily. All that it is I need to be able to step back, and the shape of the tree needs to be really visible by the lights in the shop, because with the heavy decoration and so much daylight, the lights are only going to create a shape in our shop. Whereas if you came to what would be one of our opening nights and saw the trees when we have darkness, it's one of the few times we actually have the shop open at night. It is one of the most beautiful things you'll see our shop do, because you actually get to see it in the dark where the lights glow. Yeah. The tree glows.
And a lot of people are looking for that. We've all looked in Pinterest now, and you see Jan saying, "Awesome job, Camille." But you see the pictures on Pinterest and so forth, where you've got amazing, particularly from America, trees decorated, and they will often have 2,000 lights in a tree. You know, there's no doubt, my tree I do here, Camille kindly puts together for me, there's over 2,000 lights in that. But it's a much bigger tree than this one. I love the coverage.
America actually don't have as bright light. Their lights are not as bright as ours because they're in winter. So they are, like now it's great at this time of night we've got darkness, whereas for us when we're doing Christmas in Australia we're waiting for 10 o'clock at night for enough darkness. So we actually have to have more lights to get the same look earlier on in the evening. Otherwise we don't get enough darkness to have that fewer lights stand out. Yeah,
that's right. So this is really what we wanted to do was show you what, when we're saying an average quantity, what we would recommend. If you go much less than this, you start to get the lines of the snaking of the lights. So by going with this quantity that we'll normally, if you're talking to any of the team that recommend, you don't get that snakiness. You just get the twinkling of lights throughout the tree. As soon as you start getting too short, you end up seeing the line of where the lights are.
When Nicole's saying the snakiness, she means like a ribbon look.
Yeah, where you see the lines are distinct.
Where I've actually ended up making a shape in the tree because I have so few lights. It ends up looking like another affectation as opposed to filling it.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, I hope this has been helpful to you. As we said, we just thought it was worth saying, don't forget to fluff up the branches, whatever tree you've got, whether it's ours or anyone else. If you don't raise the back branches, in fact, we didn't show the back branch, Camille, just grab one branch out so we can just show. If you don't put the tips up, it's just not going to look full. So quite often we'll see people come into us and their tree will look sort of like that. But what it should look like is that back row should be at like 90 degrees. And that way, when you run your eye down it, if you can lift that up, that's it. You can see that it looks full all the way through. So make sure you fluff out the branches, then you think about what kind of coverage of lights that you're looking for on the tree. And is there anything else on with our trees with the hook on branches? You can also take a branch or two out of the back if you need to push the tree in a little bit in against the wall. So if you don't want it to take up as much floor space, but don't ever overstrip the back of the tree because then it's going to make it unsteady. So if you've taken too much out, I would always weight the back of the tree, but also be really mindful of what you're doing there. This Saturday of Christmas in July. Yep.
Trees at our shop are actually full enough that when we remove branches from the back, it's not visible.
Yeah.
So if you came into the shop in previous years at our old stores, I had a lot less space to work with, and we would have trees right back into corners, and I would take out what we call a triangle, and nobody actually knew that we had gained that much more space back, because unlike the slim tree, the full size tree of this is about 152 centimetres. Which looks fabulous, by the way. But sometimes you're trying to get back into a corner. So what we would then do is take the triangle out, which would then neatly go back into a corner and would actually gain us back a huge amount of floor space. And the tree still looks exactly as it does full.
Yeah. So guys, you'll know this is obviously maintained on Facebook Live. So I hope you remember that's here when whether you're putting up a tree for Christmas in July or you're putting up your tree come Christmas time. Hopefully these tips on lighting, definitely do not wind your lights around the tree. And sorry, one last thing, even if you had a really long set of lights you work with, find the middle point and you can still snake them down, wiggle them down either side of your tree. Does that can you show what I'm talking about there? So if you've got
If I had a really long one, I'd lay it out on the floor, I'd take the halfway point and I'd go, there's half the tree, and I'd do one snake doing one half of the tree. And then I would start on the other side with the second half, and I would have the even amount, so that again I would have half the lights on this side of the tree and half the lights on that side. When you first do your snakes, as we call them, the first one goes wrong because you don't know the spacing yet. So if the first one's playing up, don't worry. And then when you do the next one, you mimic what you did with the first one, so your coverage is even and looks the same. So
whenever you've heard me say it with wreaths, with garlands, you divide everything up when you're lighting, and that will keep everything even and simple to work with. Gail's asked what tree this is. This is the Cambridge Slim tree. It's in the 2.28 metre, or I'll talk 7.5 foot size. It's also available in 1.98 metre height. And the price I've completely forgotten. And there's full width if you prefer the wider one. They're on our website, mychristmas.com.au. They're not in stock yet. They will be coming in August, but you can certainly order them. If you're interested in a tree, you would do well to join our member program. The member program is $29 for the year. And so it finishes on the 31st of December. It's $29 and you get 20% off anything you've purchased. So that way you come in. So you should be looking beautiful there, Camille. Yeah. No, it's all about you. So you get 20% on the tree. So if you're buying a tree, it's well worth doing that. And they were just the connectable lights that we use. Any questions, feed them through the next 24 hours. I'll be checking Facebook Live. Thank you, Camille. That has been awesome, and it's one less job that I had to do, so I'm even more thrilled about that. Have a great evening, a great week, and we'll keep the Christmas in July planning and videos coming your way. Okay. Thanks again, Camille. Cheers. Bye.